What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Crazy One. Now, I know this is going to be one of those weird, sort of like short episodes that I do from time to time. And look, the reason why I do these, and I try and keep them few and far between, is because there's something I want to share, something I want to put out there that I think either isn't going to age terribly well, or honestly, I just don't feel like it should be part of a mainline episode because it's either a self-promotion or something about me. This time, it's definitely something about me because I know that it's been about 7 months since there was a new episode of the show. And I want to put this quick episode out there to answer a few simple questions I've been getting a lot over the last couple months, which have been things like, what the hell happened to the show? Why did it stop? Is it coming back? What's going on? All of those are really good questions, and I wish I had a simple answer. I want to just take a minute to try to give you an idea of what's been going on behind the scenes, and I'm going to do my best to be able to get the show going again. Now, look, I think it's a little hard for me to even know where to start with what's been going on these past 7 months. I think as I think about it, there's probably two major factors that have really been the blockers in me writing the show. The first was I was really just embroiled and caught up, probably too caught up, in what was a very difficult and stressful job where I did not feel like I was doing my best work or having the sort of impact that I like to have. So there was a lot of emotion and stress and things like that that came with that. That then intersected with the pandemic really had me disconnected from all of you. Because in many cases, people were just more active. They were listening to the shows more. I was able to go out and do talks and to be able to sort of get a real-time feedback loop. When you're able to really stand on stage and see how content is landing, you're able to talk to people, get a sense for what they're going through, validate your thoughts and a lot of these sort of things. Because on here, I just record this and I send it out into the void, and then you just sort of passively sit back and watch the download numbers as some strange and twisted form of validation. Now, I think it was the combination of those two things colliding meant that I lost my inspiration, it meant I lost my motivation, and it meant that my imposter syndrome, honestly, really probably got out of control. I think that all those things came together, and this may sound strange, but every time I would sit down to write an episode of the show, in those moments, that doubt, that stress, that imposter syndrome really made it feel like I hadn't earned the right to host this show anymore. And I think that's the thing that I've really come to understand over this past year is that this solo format can be amazing, but it can also be a pretty big Achilles heel. Because my ability to make this show is connected to my ability to feel like I have something to say, that I have confidence what I'm saying is grounded in facts and experience, and that the information that I'm giving is authentic and can help people. Now, that imposter syndrome and the stress that all of those things had really compounded to make me go silent, because I felt like an imposter where it's easy to talk about things in theory, but at a moment when I'm struggling to pull them off in real life, why should I feel like I should share my quote-unquote expertise with other people whenever I don't feel like much of an expert? So what happened was every time I started to write an episode, it would just trail off, or I would just start to look at it almost in disgust because it didn't feel authentic, or it didn't feel like I was someone who was in a position to give advice to other people. Now, as I've said from the beginning, right, like this show is about sharing what I've learned. It's about sharing my journey. It's about trying to help all of you for a lot of reasons that we've talked about, and to do that when it's easy and when it's difficult. So I felt like sort of sharing what was going on behind the scenes, why it had stopped, was necessary, but it is definitely not easy, because this show became such a reminder of what I felt like I wasn't. And so every time I would sit down and do it, it just magnified all of those things. But then I guess, about a month and a half ago, as life tends to do, things changed again. And that was where, for the third time in my career, I got laid off again. Now, that has allowed me to be able to do a lot of self-reflection, to be able to start looking for something new, to let go of some of that stress. And I think it's allowed me to come back to this format. But as we sort of move forward, I think I also have to recognize that this has also caused a pretty massive wave of stress because I need to find a new position. So, shameless plug, hoping that karma is real. But if you and your company are looking for a new design leader, do me a favor and reach out, because this is a process I'm going through that I'm not sure how that's going to play out. So that's been a blessing and a struggle. But I think the other good thing that's been going on here is at the same time, the world has started to open up again. And I've started to get back out into the world doing talks and doing leadership camps, which has been great because it's really let me connect with people again, to be able to start to validate what's going on, to be able to do those sort of things. So, well, hell, I guess second shameless plug. Yeah, if you want me to come talk at your event or your leadership camp or something like that, I have a little bit of newfound free time on my hands, so feel free to reach out. But more than anything, I think I've just been working on giving myself permission to move on from all of this, to deal with all of this, to find some way back, to deal with what is going on with my career, my job, my imposter syndrome, and what's been going on with this show. Because just because I do this show or I stand on some stage at an event somewhere, it doesn't mean that I have all the answers, that I'm immune from the same things that we all struggle with. So I'm finding my motivation again. I'm starting to write the show again. And even through this sort of emotional siege and roller coaster that is searching for a new job, it's finding its way back. So where the hell do we go from here? And look, I wish I had a crystal ball to be able to sort of tell you that this is going to go back to the same pace that it was. Maybe it will, but I'm not sure. But look, and I think that the reality is that, I have to acknowledge that there is an inextricable link between a creator and their show. Whenever it comes to this show, there is no staff that does this show. I write it, I record it, I edit it, I distribute it, I do everything on my own. And for a long time, that worked really well, and I found huge creative freedom in it. But then whenever I ran into all of this, and I candidly did not take my own advice, that lack of a support system started to take a real toll. And I think that's the thing, is whenever you feel good, the content is easy and it's fun and you feel like there's a real authority in what it is you can do and you can make a difference. But when there's stress and that imposter syndrome and those things happen, then the content is difficult. It's a lot more work. In some cases, it maybe starts to become a little bit too much of a mirror than what you want to look in. And so, look, I have to recognize, given my current state, it will probably still be hard for me to feel like I should create these shows, where I'm giving advice to other people whenever so much feels broken in my career and in myself. But all I know to do is to keep working, keep moving forward, and see what happens. I'm sitting here staring at 6 new episodes, which I've written in the last 2 weeks, that are mostly done, as well as the episode that's going to go out that's going to accompany this short episode that really details the last, whatever it's been, month and a half of my job search, and really has reaffirmed to me why you should not apply for your next job. But here's what I do know. I know that I love this show so much. I love the content that's been put out there. I love other content that other people have created for the show. I love hearing from people that something in an episode or something was able to help them and made a difference. I love how this show's been able to help me. And when I'm in a good headspace, this work is so much fun and it is so fulfilling. But look, this show is a reflection of its creator, and all of my experience, imperfections, confidences, and self-doubts. I hope that this marks a new chapter in the show, a return to form, but only time will tell. And like I said, I just wanted to sort of come back, share what's been going on, share where the show has been. Maybe people care, maybe nobody cares about this, and they just want the next advice that they can use. But like I said, I think more than anything, I still think that it's important to normalize this journey to destroy this myth that some people have all the answers or they're immune from sort of what's going on, because none of those things are true. So we're going to take it from here. Like I said, we have at least 6 episodes that are going to get recorded and put out there. I think obviously if there's ideas for other shows, things that you'd love to be able to hear about, things that you'd like help with or stuff like that, feel free to reach out, right? Like, let me know what those topics are so that that's stuff that I can start to work on too, because I think that working for other people or working to be able to help somebody, that makes a really big difference too. So as always, thank you so much for listening. I know that time is the only real luxury any of us had. I'm still incredibly humbled any of you want to spend any of it listening to me. We'll keep working, keep moving forward, and as always, stay crazy.